Hello YouTube, it's Birdo Prey 5. We're back for episode 21 of City on the Edge of Forever, our main Cities Skylines series. Got a couple of new ideas for today, so let me get my YouTube comments up in my tablet. And we'll start. Yes, we are live, and Thomas is first, and he can hear me terrific. Thank you so much, Thomas Potts. Yes, I apologize. I saw the DJ stream in my email. I don't know what was going on. I've been so freaking busy the last day and a half. I actually was about halfway through. I was listening to DJ stream right before I started. Well, not just right. I mean, for the last 30 minutes or so. 35. Actually, his stream was an hour and 20 minutes. So I had to be 40 minutes in because I was right about the halfway point when I paused it to start this stream. I'm very sorry to DJ that I missed his stream. I did hear something about him putting together a song maybe for me to sing. That's fine. That's fine. Also, before we get started, I want to bring this up because it's rare that I play this map without broadcasting it. But the last few times I've been playing it, they're just I didn't get a terrible amount of time to actually do much, and I did make a change. Okay, and I doubt many people will notice or care, but previously this road connected from here to here, and that would connected from here to here, and that would connect up to here and let everyone make a turn to go to the cargo airport. And traffic was backing up because traffic was coming not only from the anti-tracker district where I anticipated it from coming, but also traffic was coming up through these smaller streets, and everybody was getting around any toll and getting right on the route to go right to the cargo airport. So instead, anti-tracker's claiming to be first. No, anti-tracker. Thomas was first. So what I did was I broke the street here. I instead brought the street to the bridge, which means people now had to turn to go through the toll. And that actually did slow down the amount of traffic using it and improve the traffic situation overall. I then also just put up some other smaller streets here and filled this area in with commercial and office buildings just to add to the city. Demand was pretty decent, so that's where we were. And anti-tracker says he means he's first for tomorrow's stream. So, okay, I wanted to get that much shown. And now here's the thing. We get to this point where, as much as I love reading everybody's comments, nothing really happens. I mean, a whole stream goes by and barely any work gets done. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to have Alexa, not yet, cancel. I'm going to have her count down for 30 minutes. And yes, for 30 minutes I'm going to actually play the game. I'll talk as to what I'm doing, but I will be very minimally looking at the comments. They'll be there, but I'm not reading them. I'm not going to go through. Not going to go through them one by one. After the 30 minutes, I will come back to the comments and we'll start reading through the comments like I normally do. So, just a heads up. And Thomas says, so far it's just me and Anti-Tracker. Really? Well, maybe everybody's decided to leave. God damn it. It is, huh? It's just 2 people in chat. At least according to what I see. Oh, now somebody just joined and they're gone. Huh. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If somebody wants to watch the game later, that's fine too. I'm going to start playing the game. I mean, if it's just you two and you've got some comments, I'll do my best to answer, but if we start getting crazy with the comments, don't be surprised if I stop looking at them. Alexa, set countdown for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so what time is it now? 4:15.
Time is 4:16 p.m.
Thank you, Alexa. Thank you. Okay. So till 4:45, technically 4:46 by her standards, I'm just gonna start playing. Now, I'm gonna be honest. What's holding the city back is the traffic, and it's not pretty. I've seen some great highway designs made by some other YouTubers, but it would take hours. I'd have to decimate this new highway. Decimate this highway completely to put it in. So I'm not going to do that. I think we're going to have to just deal with it. But going forward, we're going to make better highways. And let's see, what do we've got? We don't have a heck of a lot of demand. How is our education? How's our education doing? Because that can depress demand, as can property values. Elementary school availability is way, way high. So we don't have a lot of elementary school kids. We put down a ton of schools last time. Obviously the population got older, which is good. Also, high school demand is low, very low. So there's plenty of high schools, plenty of elementary. University, also plenty of university availability. So education is not the problem, although to be fair, just having education doesn't necessarily mean it's being utilized. And Anti-Tracker thinks I need to start singing in the game. Somehow I don't think that's gonna bring in the viewers. Although I'll be honest, in the last what, 3 minutes? This whole area has filled in quite nicely. So you know what? Demand be damned. Clearly there is some. I mean, even look at this nice building right here. So we're good. I mean, aside from the fact that this very tall building is in the flight path of this airport, but this is one of the things that is different than SimCity. In SimCity, if you did that, you'd have a lot of crashes. Let's fill in this area. We can add some homes to this area. There we go. Nice high density. We get some people who enjoy living on the lake. John Araki says Qapla bird. Qapla. No disasters are planned, but random disasters are on, so you never know. You never know when we get a tidal wave or an earthquake or tornado or any of that good stuff. I would just like to keep growing the city and growing our footprint and improving transportation. And I'd really like to start turning a profit. I mean, I know we're a long ways from that. We are deeply in the hole here. But it would be nice. I mean, those are eventual goals. We've got a lot of area in the city to fill in. Oh, let's check out the Ritchie Pool district. Ritchie Pool actually got a shout out from JP at Egotastic Fun Time. He put out a video in the late night last night about a rumor that came up on Nerdrotic stream that the Orville has already been renewed for season 3, and with an option of season 4 and 5, whatever that means. I mean, it's like they always have the option. I don't know why. But yes, it's just a rumor, and I'll be honest, it sounds like the dumbest rumor I've ever heard. Why would you wait until the season was over to announce that? I mean, I don't know. I guess there are worse things, but low land value, really. Low land value next to a cinema? I mean, the cinema is supposed to increase land value like crazy. How are you complaining about low land value next to a cinema? Fine. If you don't want to be there, we'll take you away. I'll put parking lots down, because the parking lot's not going to complain about land value, I don't think. Can I put parking lots? Oh, and look at that. Demand just jumped up for commercial and industrial. I don't even know what I did. Waited a minute? Anyway, let's see. Let's check. Find it for a parking lot. Because I downloaded a ton of parking lots. Three parking spaces, but is this... No, that's not a parking lot. 3x2, 8x2, 4x1. Did I bring a 2x1 or a 1x1? 1x1 electric vehicle parking. Doesn't seem like there's any place to put this. Huh? I might be wrong. Uh-oh. I'll grant you, electric vehicle parking isn't what I had in mind, but it's better than nothing. It is better than nothing. Ah, handicap parking. Now that's what I should have been putting down. Uh-huh. I wonder if I put it here, would it even work? How would anybody even get there? I don't know. But I'm not going to worry about that. And just a heads up, because I see some people have gotten into the chat. What I did was start a countdown for 30 minutes about, 7 minutes ago. And I'm not really going to look at the chat until the 30 minutes is up to give me some time to actually work on the city before I start reading comments. So we're going to see how that works out today, and I'm sorry if people want to comment right away. I do appreciate it, but we're going to see. We're going to see. So let's, I had all these ideas. All these wonderful ideas. Okay. Let's make a new section of the city. Now, no, you know what? Maybe we don't need to make a new section of the city. Maybe we just got to connect the city with another outside connection. That should help. That should help people move around and whatnot. We'll raise it by 3. That tends to be the amount needed to be safe to put a road or whatnot underneath it. Okay. And there we go. got highway coming in, and we're gonna have to connect it to the anti-tracker district. And yes, I'm gonna be honest, I've stolen this technique from another YouTuber named Ceniac 2. I don't know, but you can look him up. He does a lot of Cities Skylines videos and some other games, but he loves using roundabouts, and although I don't see their application in the real world, the fact that the traffic flow in this game is so ridiculous kinda makes their use all the more important. So yeah. Well, get people in and out of this on highway. Now we'll do a heavy duty road with the bus lanes to bring people in and out of the anti-tracker district. That seems like the right spot. There we go. Perfect. And yes, I imagine people are already going to start using it. Put some residential and I don't know that we need more commercial over here, but you know what? Sure, we'll put some commercial down. But more importantly, we can now do another highway, and I will grant you that this roundabout is not the best highway interchange. There are actual highway interchanges we could have used, but I didn't. So we're gonna do another highway, and this one is gonna bring us well, I can only bring us so far. First I want to raise it off the ground. So page up 3 spots. Now you can't bring it too close to that. And we get to here, and now we've got an issue. Can we cross this in height? It is a toll booth. Yeah. There's no reason I can think of that we would not be able to cross that in a real world situation. So let's see. We'll bring the highway to there. Now we've got to go backwards. Do a little bit closer. even though we're actually, when we get to here, yes, we've got to come on the other side of the toll booth here. So the road actually come together, and perfect. Oh no, a little short, a little short. Yes, who would have thought? I mean, I'm not a perfectionist by any means. I am a strong believer in doing the 90% of the work that, or the 10% of the work that brings 90% of the results. I'm totally against that last 10%, that last 90% that brings in only the last 10% of results, or whatever it is, 20, 80, you know what I'm talking about. Suppose it's why you get good at a lot of things, but not great at everything. Although to be fair and not sell myself short, by all accounts, I was pretty damn good at a lot of things, both in school and later in business. So maybe I had some type of secret that I even wasn't sure about. We've got a McDonald's, so that's a nice McDonald's, right as you get onto the highway. We'll make that historical, so future generations can enjoy that McDonald's. And I'm curious of how this roundabout actually holds up as traffic increases. Because if it does, man, that's a lot easier than putting down all these more complicated highway interchanges. And yeah, I like this. You go over this toll booth here, and you follow it on up. And this whole corner of the map, this is going to be, I don't know what, but this is going to be a brand new district. This is it. Don't tell me yes, I did. I drew it 3 spaces high, but maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. You know what? Maybe it is not the worst thing in the world, because that is pretty bad. That is pretty bad. Okay. Gotta destroy it. Gotta destroy it, unfortunately. That's a shame. It was so perfectly straight. Okay, so you know what? While we're down here then, let's put down another traffic circle. we go. There we go. Okay, so now we will again, I will hit the home key to bring the road back down to ground level, and we will try this again. Slightly smaller, but there we go. And 90 degrees off that goes to there. Okay. Now we do need to put a way for people to get on and off. To the circle. Now, here's what I want to do. We've got this road, and the road is nice. But wouldn't it be cool? Do we have a two-way highway? What's our biggest highway with lanes going in different directions? No, I want lanes. Damn it. Only really one lane going in each direction? Or an asymmetrical highway? What about this? 4-lane national highway. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's got lanes going in opposite directions. Yeah, okay. So we are going to have inside this zone and raised up from the ground a loop. Let's see, we'll do some curved roads. There we go. Now, that's going to allow movement within this district quite well, because this district is going to be mixed use. Obviously, this is going to be like a city in and of itself. We're going to have our own seaport. Yeah. Right, that is the one we want, the cargo hub. Not the cargo harbor, yes. The cargo hub. that way. We're going to have goods coming in and out. While we're here, we'll also put down a harbor for tourists. And I'm almost debate putting up a ferry system, but I think the ferry system will come later. So we've now got to we got to make roads. That. I like the straight roads. One way, yes. We'll... Alexa, stop. Okay, that was 30 minutes. So let me finish where I was going with this, and then I'll get to the comments. There we go. Perfect. And one way back to here, but also onto here. Yeah, and there we go. So we've got access to our main loop, and for our, now we want to do something similar, though we don't have a road here yet. So yeah. Let's get this area started. I'll put down some main roads that will divide this area up straight. Okay. Everything to this side, to the right side, that's going to be our residential. And there we go. There we go. There we go. Nope, too high. Wrong spot. There we go. Perfect. And let's see. There we go. Okay, now we should make some connections to the loop over here. So we'll do highway ramps. Come on, that's not occupied. Stop lying. Oh, well, you know what? Who cares? Whether you get on this side or this side, does it really matter? No. No, it doesn't. There we go. Go. I don't know what I clicked. Roads. Go there. You come down here. And you'll come up here. And sure. You'll come down. And you'll come up. That sounds... Wait. Damn it. These are all two-way roads. Sons of bitches. I knew they were missing one-way arrows. That makes more sense. Sure, you can come down, you can come up, you can come down, you can come up. Over here it worked. I don't know what changed. Okay, there we go. We'll put in even smaller roads over here. What the hell happened? Why would it switch to underground? Seriously? Okay. I know this is a major undertaking, and I'm sorry I'm not reading the chats, but listen, if you want a beautiful city, you sometimes have to undertake major undertakings. You can't build everything in 5-minute increments, and this will be good overall for the city. Just gonna have to trust me on that. We get a nice something here. Sure, we'll put a big cinema down here. What else can we put down? Oh, McDonald's, huh? Can't have a new area without a McDonald's. Oh, you know what? Let's put down We'll put a cat park. Granted, I'm not the biggest fans of cat parks, but why the hell not? And this cat park would totally fit under that road, so that's where it's going. Yes, we definitely, even though this is going to be a residential area, look at how happy people will be to have a McDonald's in it. So yes, there's going to be our McDonald's for this area, which means we got to go back and flop down the McDonald's sign. There we go. And while we're here, we'll put down some parking lots on either side, since we might want to have extra parking for our McDonald's. Oh, we definitely going to need power. Oh, and we're going to need water. Did I do water? I did water. Sorry, I did the whole map with water. Water availability and sewage is okay. For now, it's not great, but it's not terrible. So we're going to need power. And we're going to need garbage. We're going to need a lot of things. This is basically, it's going to be its whole other city here. So we'll give it a Tesla cube. We'll put it by the cinema. That should help spread power around. And we'll put another cube. Let's see. Does a cube fit here? Of course it does. There we go. Okay, we're going to continue these roads, and now this will be commercial and office and industrial areas. So let's Did I put down the wrong roads? Because they were supposed to have trees. Yeah, I look like I put down the wrong roads. Okay. That's going to be one tough intersection. There we go. You know what? That's such a nice bridge. I'm gonna keep it. There we go. Perfect. And I'm sorry, I know I should have been talking more. Don't worry, there's going to be plenty of talking in just a few minutes. believe me, you'll be begging for the day that I wasn't talking as much. Okay. Let's give you some power. Oh, this is garbage. Okay, so let's do the recycling. Come on. You've got to fit somewhere. Okay, well, I guess you can always fit along here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. This should cover the whole map, which I'm guessing is where we're going to end up putting our major services, including, let's see, Life Center Hospital, patient capacity 700. Where is the other hospital? Generosity, patient capacity 125 compared to 700. Oh, definitely. I've been using the wrong hospitals these whole times. This is the nice hospital. And let's get you a little bit more centered. Because that will make people nice and happy. Have a nice hospital. Easy to get to. And of course, people want to see crematoriums. And for some reason they want to see crematoriums. Well, we can fit a crematorium. In fact, we can fit a couple of crematoriums right here in the back of this hospital. They come out the back, sure. Why not? We need, okay, healthcare is good. We now need our massive fire department. And where is the best place? Sure. That will give us good coverage. Do we want to put down, you know what, I think fire helicopter depot. This is probably the right place for one. These help. And disaster stuff. We definitely want to put down shelters. God forbid a something. Where would be the best place for a shelter? That would probably get a lot of people to it. And you know what? This might be a big enough area that we'll throw in 2 shelters. Oh. How is our radio? Okay, we've got plenty of radio coverage. Earthquake sensors. Earthquakes are covered. So that's good. Okay. So we have that. Helicopter. Disaster response. Yeah, let's. Oh man, this is a big item, but let's go ahead and put one down for this area of the map. This is why the budget's not balanced, let me tell you. These types of expensive buildings. Okay, so now we need to go to police. And as tempted as I am to use the TARDIS, let's get a nice looking police building in here. So yeah, that'll give us our police coverage. Let's also throw in man, this is a big building. But let's also, can we fit it here? No. How close? How close are we? You know what? I think we're close enough. I'm gonna put this building in. Let's see. Let's see if that really breaks anything. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that does take up an entire lane of traffic. Okay. So we'll put you over here instead. Nice courthouse. Education. Now we have so many schools. Instead of putting down more schools, we are already oversaturated with schools. Let's find an area with, you know what do we care? You know what, let's put down a couple more schools. I was going to move a school. All the way over here, but that's just stupid. Especially since we have infinite funds. But if we didn't, I would totally think about just moving a school over. We'll put one there. Now this area probably needs 2 elementary schools. And to be honest, I'd keep the elementary schools, and well, even we'll put in 1 high school. Sure. It's a nice area for a high school. And what else do we have here? An Institute of Creative Arts. Oh, this takes the place of a high school, doesn't it? Would have been too big for there. You know what? We'll save the Institute for Creative Arts for somewhere else. It is time to start zoning. Once we start zoning, I can let this area build. And then, actually, it's not quite time for zoning. Gotta put in a few more roads. We'll put in some one-ways, because we don't need too much back and forth traffic. There we go. I should have continued these before, but I didn't. No, come on. Seriously? That's too far over. There's no perfect spot. What if I shut off? If I shut off the grid. There we go. That does it. Okay. Perfect. Sure, why not? And we'll put a couple of connections here. Not as many. Perfect. Oh, right. Highway connections. That would be better. That's an on. What will get you off? Slope too steep. Don't tell me about the slope being too steep. That slope is... If anything, that slope is not steep enough. That's fine. Okay. Go on. And... we'll go on there, and we'll go off here. So that should do it. Let's get one more set of on and off for the school. There we go. Okay, one more over here. I know, I said it. I lied. Perfect. Now, let's save the game, because that would very much suck if something happened after all that time. Now, we've got garbage, we've got electricity, we've got healthcare, we've got police, we've got fire. Okay, you know what we'll do? Even though I think we'll probably be okay, let us just for safety's sake, increase our sewage by plopping down one of these things. By plopping down two of these things. Space already occupied. Really? Because there's a pipe there. It's gonna stop me from putting it down. That's stupidity. Okay. So we'll get these hooked up to the water system. Come on. I know you want to work. There we go. Okay. Sewage treatment. Now we need water. We need water. Um, I could have sworn I downloaded an asset that was a water tower and a water treatment center all in one, but whatever. Okay, now this has to be placed in clean, somewhere clean. So might be a little bit noisy, but we're gonna put them there to get water to the city. So now the big, oh right, we want to do some low density because that's just the kind of guy I am. So we'll put a low density section here and put low density there, and we'll put low density up along here. And everywhere else is going to be high density. From the shelter on back, high density housing, and everything from here is going to be industry. And we're gonna have high density commercial. We're gonna have, oh, you came across the line. We're gonna have offices. Yeah, and we will have some low density commercial. And this is a massive district. We might want to separate this into a couple of districts. But for now, as a placeholder, we'll just make it one district, and I will take ideas or bribes on what this district should be named. But we're going to go ahead and give this the IT office specialization, because let's face it, IT, learn to code, and some self-sufficient buildings, because I'm just in one of those moods, and yeah, mixed use industry. Let's give it okay, let's I don't understand why a meteorology tower is under healthcare. I don't think I ever will, but you know what? Let's put one of those things down. And I'm gonna say, let's give the people a community pool. That should That should help them grow, help them be healthy. A sports club. Yes, the sports club. That takes, give them a chance to do some exercises. What else? Oh, some parks. More than a McDonald's. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think we all like McDonald's, but what can we do? This is too big. What's this? Oh, that's the cat park. I did that already. We already have a baseball stadium elsewhere in the city. Oh, botanical garden. We don't have a botanical garden in this section of the city. There we go. We've got a botanical garden. One more park. What do we put? A small playground. Of course. A small playground that will make the children very happy. And they can play under the road. So it doesn't take up all as much room. And now we can watch this build. I'm going to save the game. I'm going to put on the camera so you guys can see the city. I'm going to do a quick Jaloja, and then I'm going to come back and start reading comments. Okay. Finally, it's that time. I hope the tablet has enough battery power. Oh, don't tell me that. Let's see. Okay. So I can read the comments, but unfortunately, it's not going to be able to leave until I get to the comments at 4:58. Yeah, I can't use the map running. So, let's see. In the beginning, they were talking about how there wasn't a lot of people here. Thomas Potts, first anti-tracker said, "Just you two, you know, the lowlifes." That is not what I meant, nor what I said, anti-tracker. Thomas Potts says he has given up on trying to fix traffic. They only ever use one lane. Yeah, because they use the lane that they're going to turn into next, which is kind of stupid. I mean, right? You should be using whatever lane gets you to your destination fastest and only worry about the turning lane within, like, 300 yards of where you have to turn or something. And then Thomas also says we have 2 seasons in Pittsburgh, football and road work. And John Araki says Qapla bird, and I did say Qapla, and I said no, there were no particular disasters planned for today. And then Hector showed up. Hector, he is talking of schools. I see a meteor coming. John says, can you build a Planned Parenthood next to DJ Strip Club? Location, location, location. You know what? I will see if there's a Planned Parenthood that I can download. Maybe it'll be a healthcare building, but we'll see. We could just put down a clinic and call it Planned Parenthood, I suppose. Yeah, remind me of that later. That's a good idea. Thomas is lolling. Anti-Ryan Johnson says hello and Qapla. Hello and Qapla, right back at you, Anti-Ryan Johnson. Hector says, and a children's care facility. Yeah. They need daycare and they need Planned Parenthood for when the Planned Parenthood doesn't do its job. Thomas Potts says, and an STD clinic. No, Thomas, Planned Parenthood is also an STD clinic. It's not just abortions. You can get all types of personal issues for women taken care of there. I mean, obviously the guys just go to a regular hospital because they're not stripping. They don't need it to be by the strip club. Hector says, do pimps need a school, or are they all self-taught? Pimping is an apprenticeship. Okay, you apprentice with a pimp, and then you go out and become your own pimp. There's no school for it, but it's also not self-taught. It's one of the like blacksmithing and ship captaining. There's no school for it. You're taught it by elders. It's what ruined. Schools are what ruined the profession of attorney. Lawyers used to be able to just apprentice with a lawyer, and then you could take the bar, and then you could become your own lawyer, and then they started making law schools and realized, hey, we can charge people a shit ton of money to become lawyers, and it completely ruined the profession. When I take over the world or the country, I'm going to outlaw law schools, and you're going to have to go back to apprenticing for a practicing attorney if you actually want to become an attorney. And they'll teach you. Can the STD clinic be shaped like Discovery? Asks Auntie Ryan Johnson. I'm sorry, Auntie Ryan Johnson. I do not have the time nor the ability to actually draw out a Star Trek Discovery as a building, though in theory, somebody who was good at 3D modeling could create such a building and could make it a clinic. Anti-Tracker says, no tornadoes. We are on tornado watch for the 3.5 hours. Oh, wow, Anti-Tracker. I hope you guys are safe. Of course, I'm so far behind in the comments. In theory, a tornado might have already blown past your house, hopefully with no damage, but I would not know that for quite a while. Pimps are raised by the streets. Very true. John Araki says, oh snaps, Anti's going to end up in Oz with lore. It's possible. Thomas says, my stupid phone said a tornado when we had a snowstorm a few weeks ago. I think you might be able to do a snow tornado. Those might be possible. Oh, I forgot to put a taxi stand. I forgot to put a taxi stand by the whatchamacallit, by the harbor. Oh well, I'll do it later. Hector says, rumors are rumors. I only saw the results of a tornado once in my life. Luckily, I've not seen a tornado firsthand. We did have a tornado touch down in Queens, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. That did a fair bit of damage. What'd you say? 3 blocks away. Yeah, it wasn't just in Queens. It was nearby. But I didn't get to see it. Thankfully, we didn't get to see it firsthand. Tornadoes scare me, I'll be honest. Tornadoes do scare me. Did shows always announce the next season, or was it just assumed? Surely they always made some type of announcement. Although before the internet, probably nobody bothered publishing it or something. You know, unless you were reading like a trade magazine like Variety. Probably, you know, the New York Times wasn't going to cover the fact that you know, Who's the Boss got renewed for another season. But with the internet, now everybody covers everything. It makes more news. And Anti-Tracker says it depends on the ratings. Hector says Fox seems to announce, I assume you mean renewals late. Anti-Trigger says if the show is number 1, they tend to announce very early. Orville's ratings are not great. I don't know, Anti-Tracker. JP at Egotastic Fun Time said that the show's like live ratings aren't half bad, and further, the streaming ratings are like 3 times plus the live ratings, and that they are figuring it all. I got the impression the show was doing pretty damn good, but I don't know. Hector says the Orville is expensive, so it takes extra consideration. And it also takes like a year to film the season and do it. So that's the thing. If they haven't even gotten the go-ahead, I mean, if they haven't started writing and whatever for next season, even if there is a season 3, it's not going to be a year from when season 2 started, where it's already going to be, I mean, it's probably going to be at least a year out from whenever they make the announcement. So it feels like it's going to be an extended break between seasons 2 and 3, which is unfortunate. Although I hope I'm wrong. I hope they can figure out some way of getting it quicker. Thomas says, what makes me shake my head is when lower rated shows get renewed instead of higher rating shows on the same network. Well, that's where the cost of the show comes into play, Thomas. You can have a lower rated show, but it's very cheap to produce with actors that don't get paid a hell of a lot, and it only takes, a couple of months to get the show from script to on the air. Whereas the Orville, you're basically dealing with a movie production. And it's a lot of more money, a lot more moving parts, a lot of dependence on outside effects shops. So, Shronmore, welcome to the stream. Can't stay long, just stopping by to give the video a like. Thank you so much. I assume you're already gone, but believe me, it is very much appreciated. John Araki says, I think the real tell is if McFarlane begins developing a new show, it means one of the current ones is canceled. Hector says, I need to visit a client. It's a kilometer walk plus hour. I think I will be back before he catches up to the comments. That's very possible, Hector. John Araki says, what's up with that mob hit this morning? Bird got a funeral to go to this weekend. No comment. No comment. John Araki says, get a car, Hector. Yeah, that would speed things up. And then he says, make it a Jeep. Very, very good, John. Hector says, it's nice outside and I need the exercise. And Thomas Potts says, wait, client, in quotes. I was going to give him client. I wasn't even going to ask. John, the former peasant, welcome, John, says, I have heard on gossip sites that some say they renewed contingent, that some TV renewals are contingent on sexual favors. Well, I suppose if somebody's waiting for a sexual favor from Seth MacFarlane, that might be why they're still waiting to renew the show. John Araki says, "Oh snaps! I didn't catch the client part. Yeah, it was a good catch." John says, "Is that what Hector is doing? Male gigoloing? Well, isn't all gigoloing male?" John says, or is he delivering drugs? Oh, that's a good question. Spartan Jeremy says, Qapla, bird of prey. Qapla, Spartan Jeremy. I'm way behind in the comments, but I kind of expected it. I hope you're still here. I hope you've heard that, but if not, I am sorry. Maybe you'll listen to it again. John Araki says, I hope it's innocent and he's advertising. He's delivering pizzas. I hope so too. Commander Iron Wolf, excuse me. Welcome, Commander Iron Wolf. He says, hey guys, hey Commander. Robert Knowles, hello Robert, hello. Hope your day has gone well. Thank you, Robert. It is going well. Hope yours is as well. John Araki, I'm finally seeing anti-dissenter videos in my feed. Anti-dissenter videos in your feed. Okay. Thomas Potts says straight roads only, very homophobic. I knew somebody was going to make that crack. You guys are so predictable. Anti-Trigger says he likes straight roads, no gay stuff. Oh boy. I can hear the sigh already. Thomas Potts says, guess he's not reading comments. Like I said, Thomas, and you were here for it, I wasn't going to read comments until I was at least 30 minutes plus into the game. In fact, it says it in the description of this video. Commander Ironwolf says no, he's going to make those straight roads. Thomas Potts' bird, our 30-minute timer is up to 40 minutes ago. Was up 40 minutes ago. Anti-Trekker says, you know, it's kind of funny how much he insists on straight roads, and yet he keeps putting more and more tunnels in. Very odd, the Anti-Trekker says. I don't think I even did a tunnel yet this video. I did bridges. Anti-Trekker says, I want a beautiful city on that other map. You know, the awesome map. I know, Anti-Tracker, and I'm definitely going to play Nerd Map, Nerd Islands. I had some thoughts about how I'm going to play that one. It is a beautiful map, but we were already 20 episodes into this map. I can't give it up, at least not completely. Robert Knowles says hello to Anti-Tracker. Thomas Potts says, you mean the one without complete outside connections. Actually, Anti-Tracker updated the map to 2.0. In fact, there he goes. Anti-Tracker himself says, Thomas, I actually uploaded 2.0 of the map, connections fixed, and improved the Orville logo. Well, that is great. Unfortunately, Anti-Tracker, as you may or may not know, I can't switch to version 2.0 of the map without destroying the rest of the entire city and starting again. So I fixed the connection myself, and we'll just have to deal with the current Orville logo, because I mean, we'd lose all the progress I've already made to restart on version 2.0, and I'm assuming you don't want me to do that, but if you really do want me to start on 2.0 and just, forget everything we've done already, I can do that. Just let me know what you prefer. Thomas Potts says, good. Anti-Trigger says, but sadly, Bird will never play that one. Kind of makes me want to give up on map making. You see, Anti-Tracker, you're tugging at my heartstrings. I can play it. I'm perfectly willing to play that map. You say the word, and we'll forget the first two videos I did on Nerd Island, and we'll just start over again on the updated map. Anti-Trigger says the AI just assigns them based on quantum. Oh, how do you have different bridges? I believe that it might depend on what road you had selected at the time you made the bridge. I mean, there's like 15 different types of roads in the base game, and I do believe that is the... I don't think it's just quantum. Anti-Tracker says just Thomas says, I only have one type. Well, if you're only using one type of road, then that would make sense why you only have one type of bridge. Anti-Tracker says, don't worry, there'll be plenty of talking in just a few minutes, said Bird of Prey as he brought home his girlfriend. I wish I had a girlfriend to bring home. Thomas says, lol. John Araki says, like gender at birth, quantum, then the gender when the converting to SJW, quantum. Anti-Tracker says, you've got to fit somewhere, he said later. And Thomas is laughing, as is Robert. And Thomas says, more people in a hospital to destroy. Yes. Anti-Tracker says, I've been using the wrong hospital this whole time. He said after that. And Luke for Vark says, oh, hey there, everyone. Welcome, Luke. Thomas Potts says, lol. And Robert Knowles says, never mind what hospital, as long as you get a pretty nurse, it's all good. Yeah, but that's a big if. A big if. Anti-Tracker says, oh, disaster he finished the night with. What? Spartan Jeremy says to Anti-Tracker, do you ever have a get off my lawn moment? I've been having a lot of trouble with school kids lately. Anti-Tracker says after his girlfriend left, he said, this is why the budget is not balanced. Oh boy. And Thomas is lolling. Spartan Jeremy says, yeah, I hate kids. Anti-Tracker says to Spartan Jeremy that he hates kids. Commander Ironwolf is laughing again. Lot of lolling going on in this stream. Not so much from me. What is that noise? Is that from outside? Or is that Sassy? Okay. Okay, just checking. Sassy was making a crying noise. It sounded like I don't know what from outside. Anti-Tracker says, how close are we? He asks her the next day. Oh, Jesus. Brian McFarlane, welcome, Brian. Heidi-ho, everybody, says Brian. Heidi-ho, Brian. Brian says, hey, AT, great job on the Endgame teaser review. Yeah, I like that video. Although, to be honest, I'm not the biggest Avengers fan. You guys know that. It looked like a cool video, but I did not have to replay it multiple times. And I'm kind of mixed. Mixed on Brie Larson's character at the end. How is this city still at 148,000 population after I added this huge section of the city? We were at 148,000 when I started the game. Did a big half of the city get destroyed? You know what? Let me not save it, just in case. Just in case something did happen somewhere else in the city. No. Seems okay. I guess it really isn't all that much. Because it really wasn't all that much residential when you think about it. That was added. Anyway, back to the comments. Anti-Tracker says, thanks to Brian. I hope it's as good as it looks. Anti-Tracker says, April is going to be fun. 8 days before my birthday is Hellboy. And 6 days after my birthday is Endgame. Oh, and today is Pi Day, everybody. It's March 14th. 314, 3.14. I should have done a Pi Day special. Which, by the way, Anti-Tracker, the symbol for pi should be fit somewhere on the nerd map. You might wanna throw that into 3.0. Spartan Jeremy says, Shazam comes out the day after my birthday, which is fun. Brian McFarlane says, yeah, boy. Thomas Potts says, Endgame is out the day after my birthday, but I'll be working overtime. Spartan Jeremy says, watching this is making me go, you Americans and your damn city blocks. Yes, I like blocks. Blocks are logical. Blocks are what cities should be made of. Luke for Vark, and you know what? I put in some roundabouts, so, you know, if this was really a completely American city, there would be no roundabouts. Luke for Vark says, so Anti-Tracker is a turd, but do turds have a soul? No, they have a soft, gooey center. Anti-Tracker says, yeah, I have to say, while the first trailer looked really dumb to me, the second Shazam trailer looked fun. And Anti-Tracker said, and to Luke, yes, all turds have souls. In fact, every time you, I'll say, poop, a little of your soul escapes. Spartan Jeremy says to Luke, he's a turd, not a ginger. And then Brian is lolling so wrong. And then Luke says, Horcrux? Horcrux? Is H pronounced in French? Is it a silent H? Oh, like hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres, there's an H, right? So maybe it's silent. Horcrux. Or Cruxel? No, that's an exclamation point. Horcrux. I have no idea what I'm saying. Spartan Jeremy says, Anti-Tracker, the Crawford class is going well. I'm working on constructing the miniature now, and I have the weapon details sorted out. Uh-oh, the Crawford class is being worked on by Spartan Jeremy? I did not know. Very cool, Spartan Jeremy. Anti-Tracker says, in fact, true story, the term talking shit originally meant that someone was speaking as if from the mouth of God, and full of shit means you are full of the Holy Spirit. Yeah, I don't think so. Luke Favark says that Anti-Tracker, so old people have less of a soul than younger ones. Is that what you're saying? And he's laughing. Brian McFarland says, hey guys, does Skylines have any limit to the size of a city? Number of streets, buildings, etc.? Yes, Brian, they do. It is quite big, though. I first ran into an issue in a city that I got up to 650,000 people, and literally filling up almost the entire map. And the problem with the system is that it's really crappy, because once you hit the limit, even if you erase hundreds and thousands of buildings, you can never put down another building. Once you hit the limit, if the game is saved, you're done, you're screwed, you can't build anymore. So even though there's all this room, in fact, that reason is, even though there's a lot of room inside this area for land, it's why I put a lot of water inside the map, and then I put water in the middle too, just to limit how much land there was, to help reduce the chance that I'd actually hit the limit. Although, to be honest, with how densely I'm packing this map, if we kept playing this game and this entire area got filled in as densely as some of these areas down here, like if it all got filled in like this, we would probably hit the limit, even on this map. So it is something you should be aware of, but it isn't something that we need to worry about until, I would say, we're at least at 500,000 people, which many cities never get nearly that big. So Commander Iron Wolf says, what will you get off? Bird of Prey. I don't remember saying that. Thomas Potts says, lol. Anti-Trekker says, what did Bird just say? He wants to get off at the school? No, I certainly did not say that. Hector says, does vegan turds smell? Do vegan turds smell? I wouldn't know, Hector. I'd imagine they do. I mean, cows are vegans and their turds smell. Spartan Jeremy says, my brain is still fried after looking at all those roads. Lol. And Anti-Tracker yells to Thomas. I guess I must have said something interesting. Luke says, American cities look kind of repetitive. Square blocks are nice and all, but they kind of lack any flavor or charm. Hector says, with mods, the limit is very high, Brian. Spartan Jeremy says to Luke, agreed fully. Anti-Trigger says, just for safety's sake, let's increase sewage by plopping down one of these things. Two of these things. Bird of Prey 5. Hector says, yeah, without diagonals, you lose the charm of being lost in your own neighborhood, Luke. Anti-Trekker says, yeah, the city looks much better with the swastika-shaped roads. Oh, Anti-Trekker. Spartan Jeremy says, I like my winding roads which run through towns and cities. And he also says it feels more open than having blocks full of skyscrapers. Anti-Trigger says, man, I feel bad for Bird when he starts reading all the filth that we posted today. Thomas Potts says, that time Bird of Prey had was pointless. That timer Bird of Prey had was pointless. Well, it wasn't pointless. It gave me some idea of how long I was going. Luke says, you're actually no more lost than in randomly generated towns out there in the US. No matter how you draw your streets, they're still streets with names covering blocks. Anti-Trucker says, well, the problem is, Thomas, that it did not convert to Bird of Prey 5 minutes. And Thomas is lolling, and Luke is saying, and when everything looks the same, you're kind of more susceptible to get lost. And then Luke also says, like in a maze. Anti-Tracker says, Pedo Town for some reason. Luke says, that district over there. Let's see. Anti-Tracker says, where the registered offenders live. Thomas says, don't you mean an astrologist tower? No, it says a meteorology tower. Okay, now I can switch to reading comments on the tablet, which is going to make life easier. Luke Favark says, astrologists can't even give the weather for the next day. Anti-Trigger says, we need to name the district something really vile, like France. Oh boy. And Luke says, all they can tell you is whether or not your sex appeal will be up today. Maybe, possibly, or maybe, just maybe, you'll find yourself lucky at your job to pay. Depends on where Mars is, apparently. Anti-Tracker says, why do I get nervous every time he starts talking about children? I don't even remember talking about children. Thomas says, well, at least Bird of Prey wants the kids to be happy. Oh, it's the playground. Luke said something really vile, Portland, Oregon. Haha, yes. Anti-Trekker, be happy while you play under the road. And then Anti-Trekker says, and Luke, hey, even I am not that vile to call it Portland, Oregon. Even child molesters would not move in. Oh, we should call this whole area Pedo Town? No. We'll do it. We could do a Pedo Town. I don't know why, but we could. What would a pedo town look like? That might be the next district. Because we got to put the sex offenders somewhere. Anti-Trekker is right. That town is nowhere near actual decimals it would make in real life. Luke says, can you have a space launch center in your town? Indeed I can. Indeed I can. And he says, having rocket parts ferried by truck would ruin traffic in no time. Thomas says, only if he stopped when his timer went off. Anti-Trekker says, Joe, just make me remember TV guide used to cover announced renewals. Oh, Joe just made me remember TV Guide used to cover announced renewals. Yeah, that would make sense. Thomas says, who still reads TV Guide? I'll be honest, I never read TV Guide. I only looked at TV Guide for those grids as to see what was on. The fact articles were in TV Guide were completely useless to me. Remember, newspapers used to carry that too. You'd get your newspaper to see what was on TV that night. How crazy is that? You'd have to get a goddamn newspaper to see what was on television that night. What? Did you say something? History renewed Project Blue Book. That is good news, because I'll be honest, I've dramatically cut back on the number of TV shows I watch on TV, and Project Blue Book is one of the few. One of the few I continue to watch. They enjoyed watching this season, and so yes, I will keep watching Project Blue Book. Spartan Jeremy says, I'm still here, just working. Very cool, Spartan Jeremy. Bird of Prey is a gigolo expert. I wish. Anti-Trekker says, yeah, you should start over with Nerd Islands 2.0 because the Orville looks much better. Very good, Anti-Trekker. I've got a good idea. We're going to just start the series fresh, and that will make everything make more sense. So, and I don't think I'm starting on Battlestar Galactica this time. Thomas Potts says, I use several roads. It makes the same bridge all the time. Well, then I guess it is quantum. Thomas says, wow, Sassy, wow, what's the matter? Thomas Potts says, population is not going up because they are all getting ready to move to Nerd Island. It's probably true. Oh, the population has increased 151,000. So I'm saving the game. Oh, and I should have put on, when I started reading the comments, I put on the good camera so you guys can see nice parts of the city. Josh Street says, and I don't know if I said hello to you, Josh Street, before. Welcome if I did not. Bird, so I make a new YouTube account. No, you don't do that. Anti-Trekker says, okay, I will get map 3.0, so don't start till Nerd Island until anything else we have besides pie. I'll think about it. Thomas Potts says, how do you know what a turd... Oh, a Pac-Man anti-tracker. If you could do a Pac-Man, that would be really cool. And a Pac-Man following a ghost, that would be even better. But at least a Pac-Man and a pie. Thomas Potts says, how do you know what a turd has in the center? Wait, never mind, I don't want to know. Easy, Thomas. You x-ray it. And then he says, Horcrux is from Harry Potter. Well, Thomas, you guys calling me the pedo, but you're apparently the one that's reading children's books. So I would have no idea what was in Harry Potter besides Harry Potter. And you know, that sport they play, Quidditch, water polo, something made up. Luke says, that's not a French word, that's a random word invented by J.K. Rowling for Harry Potter. Well, isn't J.K. Rowling French? John DeMarco says, hello everyone, welcome John. Thomas says, hi John. John DeMarco says, so how behind is Bert at this point? Well, John, you made that comment at 5:53. It's now 6:06. I'm actually catching up. Thomas Potts says 5 years. Josh Street says, doesn't Bird only get off on Jeeps? So how far behind is Bird? Anti-Trigger says he's catching up. Thomas Potts says, what time are you streaming tonight, Anti-Tracker? Anti-Trigger says the usual, start between 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Oh, and what a terrible news shock I got this morning. There is no Orville tonight. Jesus, I must have been the last person in the world to know. Instead, Fox is showing some stupid iHeartRadio Country Music Awards. I might not even be country music. It's probably just music awards. But whatever, stupid awards that I will never ever watch. Screw you, Fox. You should be showing the Orville. Nobody cares about your iHeartRadio awards. I don't. That's all that matters. So, only Star Trek Discovery tonight. So, man, if it is a terrible Star Trek Discovery episode, I don't know what I'm going to do, because without an Orville to make me feel better, I don't know. Especially since we're coming off a really good episode of Discovery, at least relatively speaking. We're coming off Discovery's best episode yet. Now, every time that they've come out with a great episode, the following episode seemed worse. And like a new low worse. So, I'm not sure whether I should be hopeful that they turned a corner and tonight's episode will be decent and watchable, or if I should be worried that this episode is going to make episode 3 look even worse, look even better. Anti-Tracker says, oh yeah, I forgot it was Thursday. Oh, Josh Street says, Anti-Trackers, tonight's stream, you're going to be torturing us with your new liked Star Trek show. Anti-Tracker says, oh yeah, I forgot it was Thursday. Dang, I was in a good mood. Anti-Tracker says, Pedo Town needs to have lots and lots of elementary schools and parks and bouncy houses. Josh Street says, Anti-Tracker, but you've been killing STD, but you've been liking STD. Anti-Tracker says, only the last 1.5 episodes. I am nervous they are going to ruin it. And Luke says lol, Thomas says lol, and Thomas says she's British. British, French, what's the difference? Luke says J.K. Rowling is a British left-wing female writer. Okay, are you saying that there are no left-wing female writers in France? Because it seems like the only thing that would be different is that she's British, and the rest of that stuff was unnecessary. I know, I was joking. I know she's British. It was a joke. Wait, no Orville, no Thomas, no Orville, some stupid music awards. Write your congressmen and your senators right now. There might still be time. Josh Street says R.K. Rowling is just a fake French. It's fake French, just like Picard. Thomas says STD has another great episode. Well, I forget the title, but there was an episode before last week's that I rated pretty good. And New Eden, near the beginning of the season, I also liked. I didn't think it was great, mind you. I don't think any of them have been great. But New Eden was good. Another episode was, I'd say, very good. And then last week's was the best so far. All on the Star Trek Discovery scale. Luke says Justin Catherine Rowling. Thomas says British French, what's the difference? Wow, Luke is going to be pissed. John DeMarco says British French, what's the difference? Bird starts World War III. So, we made it through the comments. It is time to, let's see, I was gonna put in a taxi stand and a taxi depot somewhere over here because it's one of the few places that it makes sense. Come on, why do I have to delete stuff? I shouldn't have to manually delete. Why? Go. And a taxi stand. You know what? We'll just put the taxi stand right here. We can make it part of our building. So, yes. Though the taxis are on the wrong side of the street. So we need to move it. We need to move it to this side of the street. There we go. So, yes, people can just cross the street and go to the taxi stand. How many people? 108 passengers. Okay, I mean, it's not terrible, but it could be better. But for being that there's absolutely no real tourist stuff to do over here, it's actually not that bad. Oh wow, look at this. Man, the perspective of this block really throws me off. There we go. Um, oh, Sassy. How is our loop doing? Is our loop... it's not doing great. Well, it's allowing people to... Oh, we need to take away some street lights. It's slowing us down. There we go. No, we'll take away that street light. Take away that street light. Take away this street light. Take away this street light. Take away this street light. Take away that street light. We're just going to take away street lights around this outer loop. And also going on to and off the highway. There we go. That's cool. Okay, so you know what? I'm pretty happy with this new section of the city. Although I'm not going to call it the Pedo District. You know what? In honor of Luke and the joke I made, we will call this New France. New France. So yes, New France. And you know what New France needs? Of course. We all know what New France needs. All it needs is the Eiffel Tower. I know that is not a French accent. So where do we put this thing? Oh, I'd hate to destroy that area that I just said I liked so much. This we can do something here. Now, okay, we've gotta take out this street. Come on, there we go. There we go. We've got a D-zone. Well, actually, we don't have to D-zone the edge there. Now, what can we do? Oh, this is a two-way street, so even if we make it Uh, make it one of these roads. That's a little bit of a cheat, I will grant you that. But the tower's not too much in the way. And we'll put some more commercial down here. So I need to take a pill because I didn't realize the time. But what a beautiful place for the Eiffel Tower, and that will actually give the tourists some place to go. And I know, the French people probably don't like this because they just got through telling me, and not just French, all Europeans, how ugly square city blocks are. But, you know, it's done out of love. Luke says you should repeat that when Dr. Alex is on for the lulz. No, I don't want to make Dr. Alex mad. He's British. He might get angry. Luke says would be a fun experiment to see how his British pride is hurt. Luke says waiting for the car crash. Luke says does the game manager bus stations and metropolitan trains? Does this game manage bus stations and metropolitan trains? Indeed it does. Indeed it does. There is all types. I mean, you have to buy the mass transit add-on for most of those, but there's all types of mass transit available in this game. Luke says trying to imagine the face of those drivers would make with the Eiffel Tower popping out of nowhere in their neighborhood. They're not ugly, just monotone, says Luke. It reminds me of the Deep Space Nine episode I was watching. Actually, I watched quite a few in the last day. But the episode where O'Brien and Odo are on a runabout on their way back to the station, and this creature starts flying around them in space. What could have been described as perhaps a space whale. And it just turned out to be a changeling. So maybe the space whales are changelings, you know? They can fly through space, apparently, changelings. So, yes, so it was the first changeling that Odo had met that wasn't a founder. One of the 100 that the founder sent out to explore the galaxy for them and then return home. And he called, because of course he grew up on some other planet that nobody really knew anything about. And he had a similar story to Odo in that he didn't even know what he was at first. But he was a lot older than Odo, so he'd grown tired of humanoids, but he would call them monoforms. Yes, monoforms was his, like, instead of being called a changeling, no, he wasn't a changeling. You were a monoform. Which was, I liked that. I thought it was a good touch. He clearly had a very high bias against humanoids against monoforms. And it was not a good ending, I'll be honest. I mean, not a good ending. You know, it wasn't a story that got wrapped up nicely and everybody's happy at the end. Well, 3 people are leaving. I wonder how many people got dropped off. I mean, not nearly as bad as... Well, again, I say bad, but I don't mean bad as in not watchable bad. I mean bad as in not happy. Not nearly as bad as Pale Moonlight. And I also rewatched the episode with... these are all late season 7 episodes where the doctor, all doctors in Star Trek now are doctors, where Dr. Bashir is sent to a conference he's recruited by Section 30, he's given an assignment by Section 31, and then he ends up telling a Romulan that he thinks another Romulan's going to be assassinated, and it turns out the entire plan was based on him doing the right thing to begin with, and everybody turned out, everything turned out, but you see a dramatic scene between Bashir and Admiral Ross, who insists on doing it off the record, to the point that Bashir turns the Admiral's chair around and makes him face him at one point. A real power move by Dr. Bashir, who I gotta say was a little out of character. Although he'd come into his own by the 7th season, I didn't see him doing that. But, he was kind of pissed. But you would think that for a guy who was genetically engineered to the point that he had already at one point accepted the fact that the Federation should surrender to the Dominion with his genetically engineered buddies at one point in the show, like a season before, that they were all insisting the Federation should surrender because there was no way they were going to win the war. Clearly they didn't account for Section 31 in their calculations. But besides that, you would think somebody like that would totally understand why Section 31 was necessary. And Sloan told him right out that why it was necessary. Because the universe does not, what did he say? Does not share the Doctor's sense of fairness or idealism, something like that. But it was well put. And it was also beyond a shadow of a doubt clear that no one knew what the hell Section 31 was. It wasn't even something that used to exist. The Romulans, the official story the Romulans got was that it was made up by Sloan. So clearly Sloan couldn't have just made it up if it had existed or was made popular at one time. So there is no way to reconcile the events of that Deep Space Nine episode with what we see in STD. Not that anybody ever thought there was, mind you, but just in case someone thought, well, maybe if we call... No, there's no maybe. It was absolutely something Romulans had never ever heard of. I mean, even it would be like saying the Knights Templar today. And you'd be like, no, the Knights Templar haven't existed for, 1,000 years. But no, at least we've heard of the Knights Templar. Okay? So this would be like saying the Gazooga Babas. And you're like, what the hell are the Gazooga Babas? That's what Section 31 was. Luke says, they're not ugly. Oh, I already said that one. John DeMarco says, kinda sad. Kinda sad ending, but touching final scene when Odo links with Kira. Yeah. Luke Favark says, Section 31 was both the safeguard of the Federation and proof of its ultimate failure. Do you think the Federation failed? Some failure when you control half the galaxy. John DeMarco says, like many things on Discovery, it's Section 31 in name only. Very true. Let's see how our Eiffel Tower, how many tourists is it getting? Only 15 visitors, 16 visitors, 15 tourists. Not a hell of a lot. I suppose that's the problem. There is no mass transit here, but you know what? I think next time we will work on the mass transit issue. Now, you know what? Okay, I'm going to do one more thing. One more thing. We will put down the absolute worst form of mass transit that's ever existed. A blimp stop. And where is the Eiffel Tower? It's there. So, well, we'll put it here. People can cross the street. No, I don't want to destroy that. I want to destroy this building. Fuck. Sorry. There we go. Pause. Okay. Transport. Blimp stop. There we go. Okay. Put this. No, not commercial. Office. Okay. And now we've got to do a blimp pathway. Go. And we'll do one to here. Okay. So we'll go there. There. Blimp line. Create the line. Where do we got? We've got a blimp stop here. We've got a blimp stop here. And let's see. And we'll get people to our massive central plexus of public transport. And then we'll bring them around with a stop here, a stop there, and we'll complete the line. There we go. So, I will grant you it is not great public transportation, but it is some public transportation. And it will allow people to come from a distance to this area. John says, like many things, yes, it's in name only. Luke says, I'm not talking about STD. I'm not trying to make you talk about STD, Luke. Luke says, the Federation was built on core principles, and Section 31 is the antithesis of these principles. Having it intervene is the result of the Federation's failures as principled institution. Well, is there nothing to be said for an institution? No, I'm not gonna, you know what, I'm not gonna move this. That will probably just break everything. We'll just deal with it. Is there nothing to be said for an institution that is, 95% moral up and up, and a good place, good people, and is only 5% does things that we would find objectionable? Is that not better that that Federation lives so that the majority of the people in the Federation can live their happy lives, can uphold the principles of the Federation, when the alternative is likely that if they only had people that followed the principles of the Federation would have been conquered or destroyed, and instead you'd have Klingons or Romulans or Dominion running the Federation. So they are much, much less. I mean, they're not even nearly as close to what we'd call moral as the Federation. So is it not, look at all those people piling in. All those people can't wait to see the rest of the city. They're piling in to get on the next blimp that comes. Wow. It is a mass exodus of New France. An impressive amount of people, I gotta say. But, yeah. I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer. A no-brainer. I would much rather have a Federation that was 95%, the vision of Gene Roddenberry or the vision of Federation principles than no Federation at all. And it's very possible that the Federation simply couldn't exist without Section 31, because we all know that there have been things in Trek that, you know, the Federation wouldn't have survived without miracles. And maybe some of those miracles weren't just miracles, but engineered by Section 31, right? I mean, the whale probe. Maybe, well, okay, the whale probe was a bad idea, but Genesis, okay? Maybe Genesis, although I don't think Carol Marcus and Kirk's son, Daniel, knew it. I think that might have been like a Section 31 project, and maybe they kept on working on it. Wow. Where are all these people coming from? Luke says to me, bird of prey hum, evil admirals, crazy captains, politically motivated conspirators, completely abandoned and sold colonists. Need I continue the list? 95% moral sounds quite off. Well, listen, those are the exceptions, though, and that's why they make for good television. The majority of the Federation, I mean, Earth, they keep saying Earth is a paradise, right? You think Captain Sisko's father has to deal with corrupt admirals, or that the average citizen on Earth is worried about this stuff, or it has any real effect on them? No, and I'm sure the vast majority of Starfleet personnel are good, honest people. I mean, we see that in every series, you know, whether it's Deep Space Nine or Voyager or the original series, Discovery. Not Discovery. Well, honestly, even in Discovery, the majority of people seem to be decent. They don't get a lot of airtime, but they seem to be decent. I was going to say Enterprise. You know, they're all good people. The actual corrupted people, they are, oh my God, all these people coming. The corrupted people in the Federation, I mean, yeah, I mean, you could look at this and say, look at all these people. This is the corrupted people of the Federation, but compared to the 154,000 people in the city, this is nothing. This isn't 1%. John DeMarco says, I think Section 31 overstates its importance. I think the Federation could survive without it. Well, that's a big risk to take. And Luke says, bird of prey, think about it. Earth and Earth only is considered a paradise in the Federation. No, have you ever heard of Risa? Risa's a paradise in the Federation. I'm sure Betazoid was pretty much a paradise before it got attacked by the Dominion. I think there are plenty of paradise. I mean, for Vulcans, Vulcan is a paradise, though for humans it's not, because humans don't like desert planets and high suns and thin atmospheres. But there's no poverty on Vulcan. There's no, you know, I mean, except in Discovery. The first blimp carrying 14 out of 175 passengers. So let's see. And now, all 175. So 175 people got on this blimp to go out of the city, out of this area city, and it's still packed. It is still packed. 189 people serviced, and it is still packed. We can't wait till the blimps start coming more regularly. But yeah, it's not Earth that's just a paradise. I mean, granted, there are frontier worlds where things aren't a paradise, but I would say, you know, I'm sure Andoria is a paradise. I'm sure for Andorians. I'm sure whatever the Tellarite world, homeworld is a paradise for them. You know, there's other worlds that are paradises. And let me tell you this. The Dominion War. Section 31 was required to win the Dominion War. Without Section 31, they would not have won the war. And if they did win the war, it only would have been at tremendous cost that millions more Federation troops would have been killed, and the Cardassians would have literally been like extinct. Okay? Without Section 31, the Federation 17 of 35 passengers on this one, and that's going to get completely filled up to 35 when it leaves, because this is a much smaller blimp than the one that came. Kind of wish all the blimps were the same size. So yeah, don't forget, without Section 31, they lose the war.
Call from Brooklyn.
Hello?
This is an important message regarding your current credit card account.
No, it's not. No, it's not. What do you guys got? 5 of 90. And you're going to fill up to 90. Well, people from New France are spreading out all over the city. I assume finding jobs and going to amusement parks and all that. Has this helped? Has this helped? Well, we're up to 26 visitors, 24 tourists. So it has helped. Has helped people visiting the Eiffel Tower. Luke says at Bird of Prey 5, Riser has nothing to do with the Federation. It was like this long before the Feds swallowed their territory. Well, but they are a paradise in the Federation. And Luke says, Bird of Prey 5, that's exactly my point, Bird. Without Section 31, the Federation is doomed. Right. Well, isn't it better the Federation exists? Would you rather the Federation be conquered by... here's a big blimp. 40 passengers out of 175. Would you... I mean, I just don't get it, Luke, because here's the option. There's only two choices here. There's not optional. There's not a third option. You can either have the Federation exist as it exists with Section 31, and the vast majority of people, are good people and they don't do bad things, or the Federation crumbles and millions of people die, and instead of the Federation, an oppressive regime rules over all the planets the Federation ruled over, but taking slaves, raping women like what happened on Bajor, all types of things, just sucking the resources out of these planets, and to hell with the people there, and like literally Earth becomes a prison planet of some sort. So that's your choice. You really saying that it's better they should fail? That's what I'm not getting. Bird of Prey 5. Think about it. Earth and Earth alone is considered paradise. Oh, I skipped that. John DeMarco says Section 31 tried to genocide the founders, but Bashir, etc., found the cure. So how did they help the war? Because it was only with the cure that Odo was able to trade the cure for the female founder, the female shapeshifter, to call off the attack. Odo had to promise to go to the Gamma Quadrant and share the cure with the rest of the founders. Okay, if the founders never contracted the disease that Section 31 gave them, then the war would have still been going on. Remember, in the last episode, it was Odo talking with the shapeshifter, the female shapeshifter, that actually had her stop the troops. The order given before that was destroy Cardassia and fight to the every last man. It would have been a tremendously bloody conflict. Most possibly killed every Cardassian, as well as God knows how many millions of Federation citizens. I mean, the Breen were still at damn near full strength. Cardassia was falling apart, but the Jem'Hadar, especially if they knew they were losing, the Dominion would have been launching suicide attacks on entire planets at that point. So yeah, they weren't going to go down without a fight, and that order was in fact given. It was only Odo who got up because he had the cure. Without the threat that the founders would go extinct, that was only there because Section 31 introduced that biological agent to them, which was a terrible, awful thing to do against Federation principles. But had they not done that, there would very possibly be no Federation, or the Federation would have been so destroyed, so injured by the war. I mean, it was already it already took tremendous hits during the war. But imagine if Earth had been attacked or even wiped out. Earth had been wiped out during the war. Yeah, the Federation might still survive, but damn, that's a major blow. And nobody knew that Romulus was gonna explode, and the Romulans weren't really gonna be that big of a threat 20 years later. At the end of Deep Space Nine, the Romulans and the Federation were the two powers in the best position to take control of the Alpha and the Beta quadrants. John says you could argue the disease made the founders desperate, making the war worse. No, John, because the founders were very clearly, there wasn't that they could get worse. Okay, the founders weren't fighting more because they were dying. They didn't make things get worse. Things were as bad as they could be already. They didn't get worse. That's ridiculous. I mean, I understand. Yeah, in human terms, okay. If I went to war, let's say the U.S. goes to war with Germany again, and okay, maybe the people's hearts aren't in it, but then the Germans attack New York City with a biological agent, and now that makes all the troops that much angrier, and they fight harder. And yeah, okay, you could say that maybe they killed more people, but now that resolve has increased the troops. But that was never the case. The Jem'Hadar fight because they're programmed to fight. They don't give a shit what happened to the founders. They probably didn't even know the founders were sick. Okay, I'm sure the founders didn't go sharing that information. So they weren't going to fight harder or fight less hard had the founders not been made sick, and the Breen certainly didn't care. And they weren't advertising the fact that the founders were dying. As far as the Cardassian guy knew, only the female shapeshifter was sick, and she couldn't get back to the Gamma Quadrant because, I mean, they were afraid that if they went through the wormhole, they'd just disappear because of the deal Cisco made with the Prophets. Thomas says, an extended edition of DS9 final episode, 800 million spoonheads died. Wow. Where do you get an extended edition of the DS9 final episode? And I'm not surprised, because they were destroying entire Cardassian cities at the end. They'd already given the order to start destroying city by city. So, I mean, 800 million, if Cardassia was anything like Earth, you figure their population was at least several billion. And that's just on Cardassia Prime. So, yeah, 800 million, don't get me wrong, it's a hell of a lot of people to die. But it's probably not 50% or even 25% of the Cardassian race. And that's only because it was stopped by the female shapeshifter, who was forced into accepting the cure for the cessation of hostilities. And Luke says, Bird of Prey 5, there were various solutions other than Federation, Bird, and the Federation itself could have taken a very different shape. I am being critical of this execution, not the idea. John DeMarco says it wasn't Section 31's plan for the founders to get the cure, so I don't give them credit for that. No, but without them being infected, they never would have been in a position to force the founders to the table to negotiate. So maybe, whether it was in their plan for them to get the cure or not, certainly getting them in a position of desperation was. Okay? So, I will grant you it wasn't Section 31's plan to a T. Section 31's plan was ultimately to just see the founders die, and that would cause the entire power structure of the Dominion to collapse. But still, without them being sick, there would have been absolutely no pressure for them to make peace. There would have been no pressure for them to make peace. And Luke says, Bird of Prey, besides, without the feds, no wormhole discovery by explorers, thus no Dominion war at all. Not true, Luke. the wormhole was going to be discovered at some point. It's like saying, without Christopher Columbus, nobody would have discovered America. Okay? And we know, much like Christopher Columbus, that Bajoran guy did go through the wormhole like 150 or 200 years ago before Deep Space Nine people found it. And then he was returned by the prophets, and he thought he was the emissary. And he tried to reinstate the caste system in Bajor. And Kira wasn't going to be a commander anymore. She was going to be a sculptor, an artist. And that didn't go well. And Sisko's like, wait, I'm the real emissary, right? And he goes, and they both go back into the wormhole. And the aliens are like, yeah, no. Sisko's our man, not you. You're just some guy we sent to Cisco for some reason. So, yeah, other people had been to the wormhole. They just didn't know about it yet. But there's no reason to think the wormhole was going to be hidden forever. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, they wouldn't have found it when they did, but maybe it would have been a month later, maybe it would have been a year later. Eventually they would have found it. I mean, the Cardassians were actively looking. Without the Federation, Cardassia would not have left Bajor. Right? The Federation was pressuring them to leave Bajor to begin with. So minus the Federation, the Cardassians stay in power around Bajor. They would have eventually found the last... they would have eventually found that secret temple under the fountain to find the last... tier of the prophet, the last orb, and they were all working on to find where this celestial temple was of some sort. They thought it did exist, and they would have found it eventually. So now, would there have been a Dominion War? I don't know. Maybe a very powerful enemy comes through the wormhole and is like, yo, you guys stay on your side of the wormhole because we don't play like that, and they kill a few Dominion people. They kill a few Cardassians. Maybe the Cardassians would have been smart enough to stay on our side of the wormhole and not try and go and put colonies in the Gamma Quadrant. Maybe they would have listened, and maybe there would have been no Dominion War. I will say that's a possibility. But to say that the wormhole is never going to be discovered, no, I can't accept that. Thomas Butt says on DVD. Is that where you get the extended? I gotta check it. I mean, I had the DVD. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I don't know. John DeMarco says, but I see your point. Thomas is on DVD. Actor says, oh, this is still on. Yeah, we're just talking about Deep Space Nine and Section 31 and the Dominion War for right now. I think I'm pretty much done with the city for today. Hector. Luke says, Bird of Prey 5, here's the options of Federation, which are just to point. 1, a coalition of nations, kind of like NATO in space. Mutual defense against Romulans and Klingons. 2, the Terran Empire. Works just like the Mirror Universe. People look like they're more than happy to stab each other. Hector says, for this Terran Empire sector has a few inhabitants. No, so Thanos was right. And Luke says, Bird Prey 5, at what point, Bird, by the Cardassian, certainly not by the Dominion. And yes, a Bajoran would have come out of that wormhole regardless, except that thing is a secret, sacred place for them. And Luke says, someone would have discovered it, but only the feds would have used it out of the few who would have discovered it. You don't think that any other of the powers would have used it? I mean, if not for exploration, then to conquer new worlds. Hector says the wormhole is just outside Bajor, yes. Luke says the League of Nations, the League of Logic, after they would have rediscovered the teachings of Surak, Vulcans would have become more open to explore again. Eventually logic would have led them to make peace with Andoria. Hector says, of course it would have been discovered and explored. Luke says, never as was before Hector. Well, never's a long time, Luke. At some point, somebody used it, right? I mean, it didn't just come into existence and nobody used it ever. God knows how many people used it before. Nobody knows. That what do you call it? That alien that came through in the first season, that was being hunted. He went through it. So imagine if he went through it to a Cardassian station, and they would have said, well, where the hell did you come from? And they would have interrogated the shit out of him, and they would have found where it was right there. B says, so Ferengi probably started the Dominion War selling those Vimeo cameras once they realized the scam. Huh. Luke says in thousands of years. Well, it could have been 1,000 years. I think it was probably, within 50 years. Hector says the start of DS9 had appeared, yes. 1,000 years ago, starships must have been scarce. Well, 1,000 years ago, maybe, but 25,000 years ago, or 50,000 or 100,000 years ago, much more powerful races inhabited the galaxy, like the Iconians. So, I mean, a power like them built the wormhole. Now, why did they need to build a wormhole if they had Iconian gateways? I don't know, but I say a race like them, or perhaps we know the wormhole aliens, we believe, were once corporeal beings on Bajor. So maybe they built the temple. Maybe they built the wormhole. I don't know. To me, I always thought that the wormhole was artificially constructed by an advanced race, and it just happened to be a doorway to the dimension that the wormhole aliens inhabit. That it was a coincidence. And I know I've got no real good reason to think that, except that that's what I thought. I really don't think the wormhole aliens had much to do with creating the wormhole, because why would they need a wormhole to the Gamma Quadrant? Luke says, Bird of Prey 5, he did just come into existence, Bird. It's an artificial wormhole. Yes. Luke says he came through it because he knew it was there. Traders told him. Traders allowed to pass through by the Federation. Anti-Tracker says, so I'm back, but I'm an hour behind on the stream. Should I even just skip ahead or listen at high speed? Well, for the last 40 minutes, I think we've been just talking about Deep Space Nine, Section 31, morals, and the Federation, and the Dominion War. Luke says Bird of Prey 5, but the prophets built the wormhole, Bird. It's their home. I don't know why you struggle to search its origin. Well, Luke, did the prophets build the wormhole? I mean, is that established canon? Fact? I mean, because I don't remember at any point the prophets saying we built the wormhole. I can understand why people would think the prophets built the wormhole, but when you think about it, why would the prophets build the wormhole? I think it's more likely that somebody built the wormhole unaware that they were going to make contact with the dimension that the prophets live in. But that's just my opinion. I unless somebody can point to me hard canon where the prophets say that they built the wormhole, I don't think we can settle that point. Hector says, "Oh, Joe's streams are better than anti-trackers. One can rewind." John DeMarco says, "We've debating Section 31 in Dominion War." And Brian says, "Just watch the scene in Balance of Terror where Outpost 4 is disintegrated. Awesome classic Trek." And Hector says, "Wormholes are very unstable. You don't want to live inside one. They disappear easily." I really, really enjoyed this discussion on Section 31. I think we should pick it up again at some point, but I'm going to have to call it a night. I have yet to eat dinner. I am very hungry. But Luke, I do understand what you're saying. B says, "What do you think about the idea of the wormhole is natural, but someone used technology to pin the two ends down and use as transport to ship to the Gamma Quadrant?" You know, B, that would be perfectly plausible with me. My only concern is that I believe we heard Jadzia and others mention the fact that it is an artificial wormhole. Now, would that count as an artificial wormhole? Perhaps. But... And Luke I don't know. Luke says, "Well, Bird, the prophets said themselves they are of Bajor. The wormhole starts in the Bajor system and then emerges to the middle of nowhere on the fringe of the Gamma Quadrant." Yes. So I do think that the prophets came from Bajor. But did they create the wormhole? Who knows? The wormhole could have been created 100,000 years before the prophets ascended, or whatever happened. I don't have enough evidence that the prophets created the wormhole. For one, they have absolutely no reason to need a wormhole. Perhaps ancient Bajorans created the wormhole, and then, I don't know, more enlightened Bajorans realized, hey, we can exist as energy in here, and then they all flew into it Nexus style and became prophets. But I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, it's one of those things that we're never going to get a good answer on. So we just have to, we've got to just make our best peace with it that we can. Thomas Pyatt says, "Good night, Bird of Prey." Yes, good night, everyone. Enjoyed it. Says, "Hey, over 260 subs. Congrats." Yes, Brian, we've been doing good. Thank you guys so much. B says, "I see. Enjoy your dinner, Bird of Prey." Thank you guys. Luke says, "Bird of Prey, we are also pretty sure nobody was up there at the time outside the prophets and Iconians, and clearly Nothing on Bajor looks Iconian. I don't think we can say that. I mean, God knows what other species. The seeders, right? The people who seeded the preservers, or the people who seeded the galaxy in TNG, the reason why all humanoids kind of look alike, that race, they weren't Iconians, they weren't prophets. They were not, I mean, there were so many super advanced civilizations we hear about in the course of TNG and Deep Space Nine and even TOS that once ruled the galaxy, and they all ruled it for different, you know, thousands and thousands of years, but with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years between them. So, who's to say? Hector says, bye guys, see most of you on Anti-Trekker stream. Thomas says, I think the prophets are Bajorans after they evolved in the future. You know, that is also quite possible because they are without time. So it is quite possible the prophets are not ancient Bajorans, but future Bajorans. So that is a decent possibility, and maybe the making of a wormhole exists without time, right? Maybe when you make a wormhole, it's not made in the century or the minute you make it, but once you make it, it exists. It's always existed and will always exist. Kind of like those brain parasites that Archer had on Enterprise. That once they were killed for all time. And, you know, temporal dynamics, they can be funny like that. Bye guys, see most of you on Anti-Trigger stream. Thomas says, I think the prophets are Bajorans from the future. Brian McFarlane gives a thumbs up, and Luke says to Thomas, that's also what I think, not just wormhole though, space, it crosses time as well. I think so too. And I'm going to end it on that note. Qapla, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out here and spending time. All that good stuff. I will see you. I doubt I will be awake for Anti-Trekker stream, so I will more than likely see you guys around tomorrow. Qapla. Thank you all for watching my video. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell icon. Without it, you won't get notifications of new videos. If you want to visit me, check out my forum at juot.net. I'm also on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Gab. And if you're really crazy, you can send me some money on PayPal. Take care.